Okay, gang, let's see if I can do this. Wait. Is there an echo? Because I can hear me. Starting just a little bit early. Hello, Ankita. Give me just a moment to get Miss May. I am Little Lynn, your friendly neighborhood mod. Let me see what's going on with this echo. Give me 1 second. Okay, we got the reverb off, so I'm at least here while I'm getting all of this set up. Hi, gang. Hello, hello. How is life? How are things? Let me get this set up so that we can look at the stars together like friends. There we go. Cool. No sound, probably too fixed. I just, I live to stare into your soul, Nick. It's okay. We were working on fixing a reverb thing. Pick screen color. Okay. Very good. Alright, we should be here. You have jelly beans? What's your favorite flavor of jelly bean? Tell me about jelly beans. I'm not super keen into them, but I appreciate jelly bean appreciators. Hello, hello for my new friends. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been able to do a star talk. I am Mix Lynn, not Miss May. Miss May is in the living room currently and will be dropping in and out of chat and is listening. So y'all be on your best behavior. But we are going to talk about the stars for the week. I have tea with me today because I'm worried that I might have gotten myself exposed to a virus in the last few days. I might be coming down with a little cold. We will see, but I woke up and my throat felt funny, so I'm trying to nip it in the bud. Fruit in general is good. Just kitty things. Don't know the symbols to the left, but the chart is not to them. Symbols to the left. Let's see what you got, hon. Did they get sorted out, Nick? The symbols to the left? I tried to fix it. Only on YouTube, by the way. Yes, she is only on YouTube. So if you are on Twitch, I saw Jick a little while ago. If you are on Twitch, it's just y'all and me, guys. But it is good to see everybody. How was the week? How was the new moon last night? We had a Taurus new moon in the early evening. It was at 5-ish my time last night, yesterday evening. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you. How are things? How was your week? How was the new moon? Get your coffee, Nick. And we'll talk for just a little bit before we get rolling. Moon's quick. She was in Taurus yesterday. She's already at 7 degrees of Gemini. Nope. There she goes. Goodbye. I was getting, with all of my astrology studies last night for the new moon, I was getting a bunch of mixed messages about whether or not to manifest in particular. So I was wondering what everybody else was gathering from it. I have my pet theory, and we can talk about it, but ice cream, chocolate, and berries. Tiring, but we bought ice cream, chocolate, and berries is like the perfect way to like celebrate anything happening in Taurus, though. So good job. Orange, pineapple, lemon, apple, cherry, and raspberry for your jelly bean flavors. Excellent. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of jelly beans. I don't like gummy things super a whole lot, but my grandma really likes jelly beans. Hello, Dolly. It was very quiet. That's good. Yeah, it was pretty chill for me too yesterday, honestly. Just manifesting your emperor. All right. Heck yeah, let's go. And I was getting a lot of mixed mixed messaging on whether or not to manifest because of the conjunction with Algol that it was making. Wait, what year is this? 17th of May. Is Venus already all the way down there? Wow. Okay. Anyway, with Algol getting herself involved. But I eventually settled on maybe don't manifest as in I wish that this would happen, but manifest as like take a positive action towards what you want to be doing in the future, like manifest by co-creation kind of thing. You're from Toronto. Oh, hello. I have never been to Toronto, but I have spent quite a while. We lived in the Pacific Northwest for a while, so I have been up to like Vancouver and stuff several times. I do like Canada. It's good to have you. Good morning. What are we talking about? Yeah, we are talking about the new moon last night, Dolly. I was getting a bunch of different messaging, Dolly, about the new moon last night, specifically in Taurus, because everybody was like, on one hand, one side of the camp. Yeah, I probably would, Debbie. On one camp, we had go ahead and manifest because it's the first new moon since in Taurus, or the first anything happening in Taurus since Gemini really left it. And then so like it's finally able to like set those seeds and root down and grow and manifest your heart's desires, and it can do what Taurus should be able to do because Uranus is gone. But then on the other hand, they're like, oh no, the meteor Algol's there, and Algol is like, what did I write here? I wrote, she's associated with Medusa and, quote, hardships, challenges, and struggle. So I was looking at that as like, unless she's going to cause hardship, challenges, and struggle, and more as like a time to like reflect of all of the hardship, challenges, and struggle that we had from Taurus and Gemini over the last 10 years. Oh, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. For the newbies that are just here on Sundays, I come on and I talk astrology, and then we do some art and hang out. Sometimes I roll dice. I'll play around a little bit. A couple of weeks ago I did bibliomancy and we had a lot of fun. On Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Miss May, the actual driver of the show, will do tarot readings. She does 30 free questions, and then after those 30 questions are taken up, it's $1 for additional ones. But we're a pretty fun bunch. Glad to have you. Perfect. See ya. Yeah, so that was the one camp was like, oh, manifest everything because Uranus is gone. And then the other hand was like, oh no, Algol is going to cause problems. So I just eventually settled on, well, what does Taurus do? If I think about a bull, what does it do? It doesn't act unless it's really provoked, and when it does, it's not stoppable, right? So I was looking at it and I was like, well, maybe not manifest like light a candle and make a wish, but manifest as in like step towards, right? And like let the opportunities come to you because you are setting the action into motion. But as I tell everybody, just do what feels right. At the end of the day, just do what feels right, right? So we get to this week. It is honestly, I kind of like this week. It's really pretty. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of changes happening. But let's see what we have. Today is the 17th. Let me get my notes where I can see them a little bit better. Eventually I'll get a better setup, but for now this will do. So, we had our new moon yesterday. Good, I didn't manifest then, did a guided meditation, fall asleep, still a beginner. Yeah, that's really, it's okay. So what you can do, Dolly, though, is like, if you think about, one of my favorite interpretations that I did settle on is like, who are you without all of the static in the background of like obligations, right? Like the bills are still going to need to get paid tomorrow, et cetera, but they'll still be there tomorrow, not like, so if you take 5 minutes and just strip away all of like the obligations you have, what's left, right? What do you want to work towards after that? And I really liked that take. And from there, I was like, cool. So maybe not, I wish, but more, this is what's left. This is what I want to take the positive step towards, right? And so from there, you know, like it's still technically a new moon. Now it's in Gemini, so it might be a little more cerebral than in Taurus. It might not have quite the same effect, but I'd honestly say she's quick. If you get your little positive step in a little late, I'm sure the moon understands. So if there's something that you want to work towards, like a small step towards something, that might be a good idea. But either way, you know, taking a nap, falling asleep during a guided meditation is huge Taurus energy too. So like, I think you did fine. I think you did just fine. So, you didn't meditate when you wake and still in the twilight zone. Yeah, I like to listen to podcasts that tell me different like legends and stuff. Like I am a child and I need bedtime stories sometimes. But Miss May likes to do meditations sometimes, like walking meditations. Anyway. So we have a bunch of things changing signs this week. It all should be pretty, it feels pretty good. Like honestly, this week feels pretty good, but there's a lot going on. So we will get cracking. Today, Mercury goes into Gemini. This is one of his 2 homes. He rules Gemini and Virgo. Now, I think that Virgo likes to have more fun than she's given credit for. But she's still the older sister energy to like tricky little brother Gemini. Or one of my favorite interpretations is that Virgo is the other twin. But regardless, whether or not she is the other twin to Gemini since Mercury rules them both, or the older sister, however you want to interpret it, she's still, as the twin, going to be the slightly older, slightly more stereotypically mature one between the two of them. Virgo and Gemini is a little bit sillier, a little more easily distracted than he would be if he were in Virgo. So, yeah, of course. While he's here, he'll be here from today until June the 1st. You might be more interested in like collecting random information, and you're ever like really only ever going to get like superficially deep with any of it unless you like actively push yourself further into the topic, right? So what that means is like you might find something you're interested in and only bother reading the Wikipedia article, and that's enough, and you're good, and you just keep going, right? You don't like go find a book, or you don't like watch, you know, a complete breakdown on this major historical event or anything. You just read the article, get the idea, you're good to go, right? And a lot of the time that's fine. The problem with Gemini having Mercury is that sometimes it kind of scatters you, right? It's a little bit it's giving ADHD, right? Like the inattentive, there's a shiny thing that I have to go look at now, right? So collecting your random information, only ever getting superficially deep. You might enjoy a good puzzle. You might be feeling a little chattier and a little more sociable than usual. We have a conjunction also happening with Uranus and Mercury right now and for the next couple of days. That might emphasize that. We will talk about that momentarily. Let's see. And then you might have like some like logic-based insight into some issues that you've been having, and or you might change your mind about something. You could be more emotionally detached. Gemini is it's an air sign, so it's very in your head, less feeling, more thinking, more logicking, more rationality. Like he's silly, right? But it's not very like deep feeling, right? It's not, you know, a Cancer kind of feeling of like, I'm gonna really get into things and I'm really gonna feel my feelings. It's a haha, that's funny. All right, I'm moving on, right? Yeah, so feeling a little more detached, or you could just be feeling a little more nervous or fidgety than usual, like ADHD more again, right? Gemini rules the hands. I am a Gemini rising. I talk with my hands. I am not Italian. So, you know, it's just things like that kind of feeling. You could also just be feeling a little bit silly. You might have a little more wit. Your wordplay might go up a little bit, right? Now, hi, Ducklister. Picking up mental trinkets here and there. That is also my everyday thing, Willie. Don't worry about it. So yeah, I know a little bit about everything and not much too deeply, so I understand. I am not Italian, and I talk with my hands just about as much as one of the you know, like the stereotype goes, right? So anyway, so this little window, what is that, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, it's good for staying open-minded and trying to like understand things from multiple perspectives. You have the twins, they see both sides of the argument. Now that doesn't mean that you have to necessarily, like, if the other side of the argument is stupid, then that doesn't stop the other argument from being stupid, but you can at least still see it, right? So it helps you understand. Mercury in Gemini likes it for us to stay open so that we can listen to the world, we can ask questions, and that will help us, like, in turn feel more connected with others and, you know, the people around us and our community and such. And yeah, it's a bit of a younger mindset. It keeps you curious, it keeps you bubbly, you know, he's fun. Gemini might be my risings. I think Italians are automatically Gemini. I think you might be onto something, Willie. Gemini might be your rising. It's entirely possible, Nick. We need you to find your birth certificate or something, and then once you get a hang of that, you and I will just go into that, and we will solve your rising. I know that she's not here right now, but Sen is also a Gemini rising with me. And so we like to commiserate a lot for things that are going through our first house. So, on top of this 3-week window, we have today and for the next couple of days around it, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus right here, since he's just stepping into this little limelight. Mercury is stepping in now. Uranus is at that start of that 7-year trip. Mercury is much faster, but he will stop and say hello. This is the first Mercury and Uranus conjunction with Uranus in Gemini of this cycle. The last time it happened was in the 1940s. We'll talk about that just a little bit here. Uranus is considered to be Mercury's, quote, higher octave, and what that means is, like, Mercury rules communications and the mind and, you know, connecting, but like at a like one-to-one kind of reaching out level. Uranus is like more technology and passing information out to the collective, right? So it's like the evolutionary form of like Mercury as the starter Pokemon, and then Uranus would be the second form, right? This is a very, very intellectually energizing transit. Like I said, this was happening last time in the 1940s. I'm not really worried. I'm not considering like the wars and stuff that happened, but like if you just look at the technological advancements of the time, there's like really big push in radio and TV, and I think radar had a big up. You know, like if you look at like just the technological advancement of the 40s, that is kind of what we're expecting with Uranus and Gemini over the next 7 years too. So, as a collective right now, for this conjunction in particular, we might keep having some of those sparks of new ideas. We had a Mercury Cazimi on Thursday, which is when the sun kind of puts a magnifying glass over a planet. This one was Mercury. He does that a lot with Mercury. And basically, it's the magnifying glass that can either burn or really, really enhance, you know, the aspects of the planet that he is magnetizing. Mercury Cazimis are usually pretty looked forward to, as they offer like a really quick flash of insight to something that you might have been stumped by for months and months and months, right? And suddenly, it makes sense. It's the aha moment of the zodiac, right? So I'm guessing this conjunction will just kind of feel like a bit like a continuation of that. Honestly, there's a lot of little things happening this week that just kind of feel like a continuation. So if you had an idea sometime around Thursday, and you just kind of keep working with it, that might be what's happening with this, right? So, but with this conjunction in particular, plans might shift, so have a backup plan, and or just kind of be ready to pivot, just change, just keep light on your feet, right? You might have to shift. And there might be a few like small technical issues too. So keep your phone charged, add a couple of minutes of cushion on either side of your plans, just in case there's like a transit delay or something. It shouldn't be anything nearly as bad as a Mercury retrograde, but just some little issues here and there. Yeah, war in general sucks, but yes, advancement. From the advancement perspective, yes, exactly. So if you think about the advancements that were happening around the neck, like, yeah, you can see it. So might be minor tech issues. Your brain with this conjunction for the next few days might, on top of, everything being in Gemini now, on top of everything else, it might feel like a bit like your brain's on a bit of a fast forward. You might have those surprising ideas for innovation. But since you're on fast forward, it's hard to stop exactly where you need to stop, so you might end up saying something that you don't mean to. So work on like watching your mouth a little bit. You might not even be maliciously, but we have to remember tact. Mercury is fun and silly, but sometimes he has a hard time recognizing that what he might think is constructive criticism might actually be a little bit hurtful. It's never malicious. It's just like a kid that hasn't learned tact just yet. So, like always, remember what I say. I grew up with this phrase, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Think about it before you say it. Sometimes you can catch that first thought and go, well, this isn't exactly, I do want to say this, but maybe not the way that I have thought it. Let me think of a more tactful way to say it, right? So, by and large, this conjunction's pretty kind of fun, at least for me, right? But it's a lot of mental bandwidth, so take care to watch what you say a little bit. Take care to avoid burnout. There might be, some overstimulation here and there. If you need to step back, go ahead and step back, right? Since this is the first of several of these conjunctions while Uranus is in Gemini, this can kind of be considered like the opening act or the sneak peek for things to come. So watch what happens today, tomorrow, Tuesday, and kind of like use that as clues, right? Now, also today, just a quick note, Venus is sextiling Chiron and Mars, and that looks to me just like some positive steps towards healing. Mars would give Chiron the action to like work towards that healing, and Venus is just there as support, right? What's this? Sylvester, this is the art and astrology stream. I do this on Sunday mornings. I am Lil Lynn. I am usually the mod in the chat, but I come on Sundays, talk about the stars and what's happening this week, and then after that I'll do a little bit of art. And yeah, we're just starting, so if you would like, feel free to settle in and have a chat. We will talk. We had just gone over today. There's a lot going on this week, so happy to have you. Yeah, exactly, Nick. You're an idiot. Wait a second. So I have a rule, and this might help you in particular, Nick, but also maybe other people. I've had people tell me over the years that it's very useful. My rule is that I am allowed my first thought, but normally I do not get to act on it unless I might be saving life, right? So I'm allowed to think that something is stupid, but then I have to like stop. My first thought tends to be lizard brain. And then my second thought tends to come from like my higher like intellect, right? So I have that, and then I just stop it, and then I have to like filter it through the I am a grown adult lens, right? So, but sometimes those first thoughts are nasty, and then I know a lot of people like beat themselves up over having those first thoughts. I don't expect you to necessarily, Nick, and that's not me saying it like offensively. That's me giving you a compliment, right? You're not gonna like kick yourself for thinking something rude. But I know a lot of people who would be like, oh my God, I just thought that person was an idiot just based off of how he looked. Does that mean that I'm a bad person? No, that's your first thought. And as long as you're open to be proven wrong and like not going to say it's okay, right? You can't control every single thought that you have, right? So just think about, rephrasing it if it's a thing, or being open-minded about it if it's something really, really negative, and it's just your lizard brain, right? Are you talking about judgment? You like the flash judgments, Dolly, not necessarily like the ultimate judgments, right? But like trauma's a thing, and trauma's going to make you have some cute skewed perspectives of like maybe something happened with a certain type of person, and then it just, you know, it just happens, right? And then you just remember like, oh yes, that happened once, and that's not always the case, but this is my lizard brain trying to protect me, and I just have to kind of ignore it, right? Or like the OCD flash thoughts or things like that, and people tend to kick themselves over it, and I'm like, it's okay, just be the bigger person than those lizard brain thoughts, your first thoughts. Like just the really quick ones, right? The first things you think, you're like, well, that was rude. Yeah, but it also wasn't necessarily you, right? So. All right. Let's see. I think that's a good way to stay true to yourself. Exactly, Dolly. That's kind of how I, you know, like just give yourself room to be human, right? Because you're not always going to get it right, and at the end of the day, you are still only human, but also you can work towards being better. Usually my actions I reflect on because they the experience. Hindsight is always 20/20. Yeah, important to be kind when reflecting. Absolutely. All right, so that was just today. And we are already half an hour in. So let's look at tomorrow too, because we have 2 big shifts happening. Let's see. Venus. I'm going to fast forward this by like 6 hours so that we can see it. Well, maybe not. Let's go another 3 hours. This might be later on in the day. Okay. So you can kind of see it. We're in London time, so it might be a little bit. Yeah, okay. So you can kind of see it. This is at 29 degrees. Venus right here is at 29 degrees. Overnight, tomorrow night, she's going to shift into Taurus. And then you can already see here, tomorrow, Taurus, or Mars is shifting into Taurus. So we have 2 inner planet sign transitions happening on the same day. And remember that today Mercury is also shifting, so these are like 3 fairly decent shifts happening within, you know, a 48-hour window of each other. So it looks like we're going to talk about, I wrote them not in chronological order, but let's flip them a little bit and we will talk about them in chronological order. So first, Mars is going into Taurus. He is coming out of Aries. He is going into Taurus. Thank God. He is technically in detriment here, which means that he doesn't really like being here, right? He doesn't like slowing down. He was very happy with all the go that Aries and the fire was giving him. He doesn't like that Taurus is the slow and steady wins the race type, but he will, and we will all appreciate it, after all of that go that was Mars in Aries, right? Taurus makes him, a bit more slow and steady, wins the race. You might have a hard time starting, but if you can get the ball rolling on something, Taurus will give you the determination to follow through, right? So if you think of a bull, like just your stereotype, right? They could be lazy, they can drag their feet until they're provoked. Something could happen, they could want to protect, they could want to defend, they could want to do something, but then once they get their mindset on something, there's no stopping them, right? Yeah. And I wrote, especially if it's something they're protecting or digging their heels in about. There isn't much that can out-endure that type of determination, right? So, yes, I know you're partial to the Aries stuff, Nick. I don't know. I'm tired. That was fast. Like, we're talking about all that fire energy making everything go fast and ooh-wee. So I'm happy for a little bit of slowdown. I'm not sure how this kind of conflicts look just yet. I wasn't able to like really dig into the topic too much yet, but with Mercury being in Gemini and Taurus saying slow down, but Mercury saying hurry up, let's go. I'm kind of wondering like if this might cause some like mental war with yourself of I want to start something, like, you know, decision paralysis, or like just not being able to act on something, and you're like arguing with yourself in your head of like, I should go do this, I want to go do this, why can't I start, right? But Mercury wants to go fast and think out of the box. Mars wants you to kind of slow down, be a little more methodical. I'm hoping that this will work together and be a bit of the check yourself before you wreck yourself kind of attitude, right? Because remember, we needed to like filter those first thoughts because Mercury in Gemini has a hard time keeping their mouth shut sometimes, right? So we need to have a little bit of a filter, and I'm hoping that this is giving us that filter, right? While Mars is here, he will be here from tomorrow until the 18th of June. You might look for more predictability or consistency, particularly in the Taurus portion of your chart. Or if Mars, while he is in Taurus, is making any aspects to any of your natal planets, that might also affect them. You might be feeling a little more stubborn than usual, or, if we want to put it in a more positive light, you might be more willing to say no when you don't want to do something. May and I have a thing. It's a picture, like word art, that we ripped out from a magazine because we both needed it, and then we put it in a frame. And it says, I should say no, but I feel bad. Mars in Taurus is willing to say no, right? So if there's something that you don't want to do and it isn't hurting anybody to not do it, don't do it, right? So yeah, just, preserve your strength, save your effort for where it matters. And I'm hoping that this helps like keep Mercury a little bit more like able to focus. I hope it doesn't already deal with that with ADHD. Hard same, Dolly. So just, be willing to say no to things that you don't want to do if it won't hurt anybody. Preserve your peace. And then and we'll talk about this a little bit later too, there's something happening later that's like, why don't you pick one or two things to like shift your focus on, and then that'll help you from keep from getting too scattered or too stuck. While Mars is in Taurus, you might look for predictability and consistency. Yep, we had this. Know when you don't want to do something. Oh, here's one. You might have more cravings than usual, like a little sweet treat. Taurus does like to indulge in, the simple pleasures of life, right? You might want to self-indulge just a little bit more. But also he rules you associate Taurus with like finances and stuff too, right? So keep a small fun budget. But also this is a good time to start like a savings plan or, like little luxuries like comfort and stability. Maybe there's a small home improvement project that you've been putting off or something that you can do just to make your house feel a little more homey, right? Just a little more comfort, a little more stability, savings plan, add a new picture to your house, just something that makes you feel happier and safe, right? So that is Mars and Taurus. Now also today, and I suggested the home improvement thing already, but also today, looks like a little later, but we have Venus here at this hour of tomorrow going into 29:53. It goes up to 60. Venus will be rolling into Cancer overnight. Now Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is the mother and the home archetype. So Venus here is caring, devoted, and protective, and her focus might shift from like the light and airy, flirty Gemini vibes that we've been having to more comfy, cozy home feelings. Between this shift and Mars here, the little things might matter more, like simple pleasures, familiar pastimes, those small home improvement projects, like I said, just even hanging up a new picture, or maybe there's like a little spot on the wall that just a tiny little spot on the wall that's bothering you that needs like a tiny little coat of repainting or something like that, right? Just something small. Venus here, since Cancer is home and the mother and the feminine and etc., things like that, those kinds of feelings. She wants to take care of and be affectionate with people, as well as to be taken care of and doted on by loved ones. Jupiter is still down here. Oop. You can see him down here in Cancer, 21 degrees, even right now. So there might be room for like financial or real estate opportunity. As she progresses, she will be here until the 18th of June. So as she progresses through Cancer, she will go conjunct with Jupiter later on in the month, or next month, I think. Yeah, it'll be next month, early next month. So with that, a bit of a homebody kind of vibe. Kind of, again, button up against the Gemini energy, but maybe it'll keep you in a bit of a balance. But if Cancer is heavier in your chart, or if she's making more aspects, you might become a little more hesitant than usual to try something new. Or you might have trouble, like you might get a little self-conscious if you start sharing like personal things with other people, kind of thing, right? Like, so you might just get a little more want to be reclusive, right? So depending on who's meeting what where, these transits will affect you a little bit differently. And we can talk about that more in the Discord too if anybody has any questions. The Venus thing is good. I already planished. Yeah, that's perfect. Honestly, Dolly, that's perfect. So between Mars going into Taurus, Venus going into Cancer, little home house sprucing projects, perfect timing. All right, so I think those are the 3 big shifts into different signs that we have. But if we look at, we have a bunch of little aspects happening. So if we look at Tuesday again, no problem. So if we look at Tuesday, we have Mercury making a trine, and you'll feel this for a few days around it, but Mercury will be making a trine to Pluto. So usually when the trine is forming, you'll feel it for like a day or two, then the day of, and then for a day or two after when it's like fading, but it's still there, right? Mercury trining Pluto, it's a mental sharpness, and it can help with some of Mercury's potential for like superficiality, right? Like I remember when I said Mercury in Gemini is like just skimming the Wikipedia article and being satisfied with that information, right? With Pluto stepping in, it's like, no, let's cut to the chase. Let's figure out what's actually going on down here, right? So, if you ask questions with Pluto right there, you'll find answers, and you may also notice that you have a little bit of a knack for reading in between the lines for a couple of days, right? You might be able to hear things that aren't being said. As you do so, we might just keep piggybacking off of that Mercury Cazimi and keep finding answers that change the game relevant to whatever kind of revelation you may have had that day. This is a good, 4-day window-ish for digging into something and having deep conversations. These 2 air signs are both very intellectual. Pluto is in Aquarius. Gemini is, Mercury is in Gemini. These 2 air signs kind of keep feelings from being too bruised. They help us like compartmentalize and like understand the rationality behind things. As long as those words, again, aren't said in cruelty, you might find yourself feeling a little bit better at negotiation, especially when it comes to shared resources. Pluto is also just, overall just kind of helping keep Mercury precise for a few days, which helps with those negotiations and the persuasion. Confirmation bias. It's good practice to read and learn what goes against your bias, but to help see the whole picture. Yeah, and like all of this going on with Gemini right now, it's a really good time to work on like looking into both sides of said argument, right? So, but to help along with some of these conversations that might need to be happening or finding your words or stuff like that, right? We have Mercury also sextiling Neptune up here. Mercury in Gemini, Neptune in Aries. Same time frame as Mercury trining Pluto. This gives some extra like oomph behind your words. You might be feeling a little more compelling, a little dreamier. You might be feeling more creative. This can help with like any of those conversations that might need to be happening. The heavy ones should feel lighter than they normally do in general. And it shouldn't be easy to find the warmth that you need for having them. Still, obviously, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But in general, Neptune gets Mercury firing on all cylinders when it comes to imagination. So have fun. Pay attention to your dreams. If you're a big dreamer, like keep a little dream journal. Find a creative project. You can write a poem, you can do some photography, you can do some sketching, write a story, something like that. Neptune's very creative. Mercury loves expression. Well, yeah, of course there's more than 2 sides, but just for the sake of keeping things general, right? Obviously there's going to be more than 2 sides to an argument, and this is a really good window for coming to an understanding with many of them. Anyway, so this should help with some of the over rationality that you might be feeling with the Mercury and the Mercury and Pluto in air signs. On top of this, Venus, our girl Venus down here, now officially in Cancer, is going to make a pretty sextile to Mars. This one's a bit of a shorter transit than the other two, but you'll still be feeling it for like 2 or 3 days. Adds another layer of affection to things, and it makes it steadier and easier to act on ideas. Venus will be at 0 degrees of Cancer, Mars will be at 0 degrees of Taurus. So they will be kind of embodying the very essences of these two signs right there at the very start of this transit. You will crave, but you will also be willing to create a sense of closeness with your loved ones. You will be more willing to reach out to people and probably and even possibly make like simple plans with everybody else, right? Remember, it's comfy, cozy vibes with Venus and Cancer, so they might just be like, come over and watch a movie at my house or something like that. But you know, like you're still seeing people, you're still, you know, interacting with your tribe, basically, right? Mercury and Gemini, I think, will help with that and make the action taking all the easier. Your little Venus and Mars will be like, I want to see somebody, and Mercury and Gemini will be like, okay, let's do it. I've already called them, right? You'll be more affectionate. You'll be more willing to dote on others with this little sextile. If you're working on repairing a relationship, I think all 3 of these aspects are really like a good time to do so. You'll have access to feeling your emotions. You'll have access to sympathizing with other people's emotions. You'll be willing to act on things. You'll have a bit more tact for, you know, just conversation. And all of this will be giving you like the patience and the insight needed to work on whatever it is that you need to cooperate on. Additionally, with this little aspect, you might be feeling more subtly confident about yourself, like, oh, this outfit looks really good on me, or things like that. It might be easier to get along with most folks, just kind of in general. Men, women, everything in between, everything excluded, things like that, right? So these are 3 aspects on Tuesday that just kind of set up for really, really pretty like conversation windows for everybody. Let's see. Conversation windows, really good for discussion, really good for like expression and such. So now let's go to Wednesday. This is Wednesday, my dudes. And you can see we're still going to be feeling some of that sextile between Taurus and Venus. We're still going to be feeling Mercury and Pluto. So we will still be working with all of these. Really looking forward to that aspect. Yeah, there's a lot. Tuesday is really pretty. Wednesday is a little less busy, but the big one is, let me get it over there. Sun really don't be moving too quick. Well, it ain't in a hurry right now. But anyway, so the big one's going to be that overnight on the 20th into the 21st, the sun here is going to be rolling over into Gemini. So you can see it right here if I push it over to the next day. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, how do you do? I do just fine, Water. How is it going? I don't have water right now, but I do have a glass of tea because my throat's a little sore. Does that count? I put honey in it and everything. So I am Lil Lynn. You know me from the chats. I am doing my Sunday morning art and astrology stream right now. We are just going through the week for astrology, and later on we will be doing some art. Planets exposing somebody's entire business again. Ooh, yes. There's a lot of that. Willie says this month's been so chill compared to April, and it just dawned on me. Yes. Now, the pace may pick up for the second half of the month, Willie, but it is a lot calmer. The general vibe of May and June are a lot calmer than they had been like in March and April. That will pick back up again in July, so enjoy the lull while it's there. Kitty wants some hydration. No, I've still got half a mug of tea. I'm doing all right. But I told everybody in the Discord, I think I mentioned it on one of our star chats, that the first half of May is going to be chiller. It has been chiller. There's a lot of things shifting now, but it's kind of fun, right? And then the first half of June is going to be chill. And then the pace is going to start picking back up. And then we will get a little bit chaotic again in July. So enjoy the lull. Take a day trip. Maybe take a weekend trip. Enjoy it. Celestial dehydration accepted. The planet shall allow this. Thank you so much, water. I appreciate that. Yeah, I woke up with a bit of a sore throat, so I got some with honey and stuff in it, so I should be good. Found it fairly calm in Aries. Don't know what you mean. Thank you, dear. No, I'm okay. I'm all good. That's okay, Nick. Apparently, I think it was that full moon in Scorpio that you were like, I don't like the vibes, and then Miss May and I were like, we're fine. So I get it. Everything hits you a little bit differently depending on your chart. So this is just kind of a general walkthrough. Right. I have my part of fortune in Aries, and that's about it. So everything going through Aries just like activated stuff that does not usually get touched very, very much. So it was a lot for me personally, but you have your sun in Aries, right? So you're a little better equipped. Okay, so on the 20th overnight into the 21st, we have the sun going into Gemini. Happy birthday to all of my Gemini suns. This plus Mercury being there should help a little bit with some of like Venus and Cancer and Mars and Taurus's reticence, right? Like if you've been dragging your feet, both of these two here should be able to like support and be like, no, it's okay. We don't have to stay at home again today, right? That Scorpio moon did hit. Oh, okay. Yeah, May and I were fine, but I have a Scorpio moon and she is Scorpio rising, right? So you're a little more adjusted perhaps to the feeling of high Aries energy because you feel it all of the time, right? So tea with honey is basically the ancient healer potion. Yeah, it is. Your sun is in Aries? Heck yeah. All right, Dolly and Nick, y'all are Aries friends. I don't have a Gemini sun, but me and Sin are Gemini risings. So I do vibe really hard with the Geminis, the Gemini suns. But happy birthday to the Gemini sun babes. Happy to have you. This and Mercury again will help with Venus and Cancer and Mars and Taurus if those two have you feeling lazy. Like I said, the sun is coming up with Mercury as a bit of backup support. We should be feeling more curious about the world, more sociable with people. All right, I'm out the moon and just take care, water. We'll see you around. Have a good week. But we should be feeling more curious about the world, more sociable with people. But like with Mercury, but especially with the sun, our focus can get a little bit scattered. Since Gemini rules over duality and two things being true at once and multiple things having several facets and oh, but actually if I look at it from this way, then I could read it as this kind of thing, right? He wants to weigh all of the options. It often can lead to decision paralysis. But overall, just during this window, things are going to probably be kind of fun, a little bit optimistic, and you're going to find yourself, more willing to consider all of the sides of something, right? We might be feeling, especially with while Mercury is still here, more chatty, more silly, a little more adaptable, a little extra clever. You might be feeling like, oh, that joke really landed, or have an idea that's really outside of the box of like fixing something that's really been bothering you or something, right? But with that chatter and that chattiness, be careful not to let the chatter turn into gossip. And remember to stop in and feel your feelings sometimes, because again, Gemini is really known to get a little bit cerebral, and with that, intellectualism can come a feeling of callousness if they are so detached from their emotions, right? So this is what I was talking about earlier. My general advice to avoid the scatterbrain, right, is to leverage like Mars wanting to work on one or two things at once, right? And pick one or two things to focus on specifically so that you are careful not to get too distracted by all of your options, right? Because if you walk into the grocery store with a list, or at least this is how I hear it works. It never works this way for me, right? But Miss May tells me that when she walks into a grocery store with a list, she doesn't feel the need to go up and down every single aisle, right? She knows that we need eggs, and so she goes and gets some eggs, or we need vegetables, and she goes and get vegetables, and then she leaves. I wonder what that's like. I've never lived that experience, but if you walk in with a list, like if you walk into the Gemini season with a list of things that you want to do, you might not get quite so distracted, right? So go with a list, and don't get distracted by all of the sales advertisements. Battle one thing at a time, absolutely. Maybe two things. Gemini, it's, multitasking. Maybe even two things, but be careful not to go too crazy. All right. So on Thursday, there's nothing major changing. We saw there's a lot of the same. So it's just going to be more of a continuation of those feelings that we've been having throughout earlier in the week. If we look at Friday, we have, for a few days around it too, we will be feeling Venus squaring off with Neptune. Thank you. Yeah. If we feel, we'll feel it for a few days on either side, this Venus square Neptune. It'll feel kind of like the Neptune and Pisces era a little bit because we have Venus in a water sign again. So your judgment might be feeling a little extra cloudy. Or you might want to rely on intuition more than logically you should, right? Or flip side, right? We're considering both angles. It might help soften some of that Geminid, like the over intellectualism that they are prone to do, and help you tap into your emotions a little bit better than you might otherwise be able to do with all of this air and fire that's happening right now, right? Might help you stop and feel your feelings for a minute. One thing I saw said, quote, "The square can blur the line between compassion and overgiving, especially if you are trying to soothe anxiety by spending, fixing, or merging," end quote. So don't be a giving tree. You can be compassionate and you can be kind without giving too much of yourself. You don't have to self-sacrifice. A little bit goes a long way. This is also a good window for some self-care to help try and unwind. But be careful not to overthink the little things. While Venus is squaring Neptune, she's going to be making nice aspects to, I think it's a trine to the north node and a sextile to the south node. So she'll be getting some help from the nodes. So there might be something fated happening. There might be, a resolution happening that you've been waiting for, or you might have a fated encounter or something like that. But you can also be a little bit into your head, right? And just be careful not to overthink the little things, because that side eye might have just been someone taking a second look. It might not have been anything accusatory. It might have not have been a double take, right? Don't overthink it, right? It could have just been someone looking again. And be careful to choose kindness. But again, make sure you're not letting yourself get steamrolled, right? There's a difference between letting someone borrow some money that you can afford to lose and the money that you can't afford to lose, right? So just be careful not to overgive of yourself. Give yourself hand and feet massages. Absolutely. A hot bath. Watch a comfort movie, make a comfort meal, like just little things for self-care to kind of like help you stay grounded, right? Stay out of your head. Now, on this same day, we have this square happening. We have our two friends here, the Sun and Uranus, conjuncting. And when a thing goes conjunct, it makes the energy of both planets kind of mixed together. The Sun is your core. And then Uranus is chaos and rebellion and upheaval and big technology change and progress and stuff, right? So while the Sun is conjunct Uranus, we may be more prone to trying to break away from anything that we feel is too restrictive. We might have an up in our drive to feel authentic, or in general just kind of feel a little more fidgety than usual. Gemini suns and Gemini risings may stay seated with all of our fidgeting. We are that way anyway. But for others, you might be feeling a little more fidgety. You might get some surprising news. You might have a creative breakthrough, or your plans just might kind of get changed again, right? This is another one of those days to keep your phone charged and give yourself some breathing room on either side of your appointment, right? You might feel like you need to do something to switch up your style. If anyone's planning a new outfit or possibly considering a haircut, this could like really push you to taking action. Like with Mercury conjunct Uranus, watch your words again. And yeah, like I said, watch out for your technology. Now, careful with accidents, and absolutely be sure to rage against the machine, but be careful about it. Now, for a healthier outlet, though I would say that raging against the machine is always a healthy outlet, a day trip or trying out a new hobby could also be a good way to channel this kind of restlessness. Right. On this same day, we see Mercury down here in the Gemini column, making a nice sextile to Saturn. And this might help with some of the scatter. Like if you're ending up with any of the scattering feeling, this might help you kind of get a grip on it, right? This is about a 3-day window. It should help with some of the Venus and the Neptune confusion. It should give us some grounding to help us hang on to logic and reason should we need to solve a problem. Saturn will offer Mercury step-by-step advice and help with decision-making and project commitments. It is good for practical conversations as they pertain especially to the Aries and Gemini portion of your chart, or any planets they may be aspecting in your natal chart too. This aspect to Mercury sextile Saturn also encourages you to call your own shots a little bit more, be a bit more of your own boss. And you don't necessarily want to go looking for too much external approval, right? Like, obviously don't go do something illegal, but if there's something that you've just been like, for my last job, I would have to wait on upper management to give me green lights a lot of the time, and sometimes I would just get frustrated, and I already knew that they were going to approve it, so I would just start, right? I would just go ahead and start, because dealing with upper management sometimes is like dealing with herding cats. If there's something that you need to do, and you know you need to do it, and you know that you're going to go ahead and do it, or you're going to get the okay to do it, even though you need to ask, just start, right? Like, you don't have to finish it. You can just get a head start so that when you finally get that freaking green light that you've been waiting on, you've already got your foot on, like you're already a few feet in. You're not starting from the beginning right then, right? So just go ahead. Don't worry about, you don't always need external validation. Like, use your better judgment. But sometimes, if you know that it's necessary, just go ahead. But if in a conversation also you hear any like real practical advice, that could be Saturn speaking to you directly, right? So if anybody, like if you ask for advice and somebody's real like practical about it or something, give it a real extra think, right? Like really sit down and consider it. So that is basically this upcoming week. There's nothing major happening on Saturday. Let's see. We'll still be feeling all of these things happening. Lilith is going to be opposing Mercury. I assume that means that your words might have a little bit of an extra rebellious touch to them, right, for a few days. So again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Earlier we had Chiron conjoining Mars, and I assume that's just like giving you energy to work on whatever it is that you need to be working on healing, etc., etc. So that is our week ahead. I might not have all of the answers, but I am, as always, happy to answer any questions or help you look up together. I do have an art project that we can work on also. So let me switch the screens. Let's see if I can remember how to do it. Haha. It's this one, I think. Yeah, I'm learning. Okay. So that's our week ahead. How does that feel? Any questions? I know I have a few people actually sitting here and watching. How are we feeling about things? Because honestly, this week feels kind of nice to me, right? But I'm happy to hear other people's takes as well. And for the Discord folks, I will also write a little summary for the week as well, that will be available to reference at any point. Art project, yes. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to do it. And like I said, I'll be around in Discord. I'll write up a summary either. I usually post them like Sundays or Mondays of the week ahead. And it's just kind of like a truncated, like a shortened version of what I've been talking about. Yes, I do have an art project. A friend asked me to paint his cats as cat people at a bar. So nice week, gonna be real productive. It feels like a usual week for this year. I mean, yeah, this one feels a little less angsty, Doji. I feel like this one just feels like, yeah, you'll be having a lot of these insights and stuff, but they'll be wanted this time, right? Be wary of communication, a chill week ahead. There could be like a fair amount of progress on things, but it's not like, it's not a negative week. How is that? There might be a lot of moving parts, but none of them feel particularly negative. Hi Shri, how's it going? We just went over the week ahead for astrology. Things look pretty alright this week. There might be a lot of moving parts, but like I said, nothing particularly stressful. A bit busier than it has been historically earlier this month. Planet towards the right green symbol about. The rebellious planet towards the right green symbol is about. Did you mean Uranus? Uranus is in Gemini. If we look at here, let me find this. Hang on one second, Nick. I'll pull it up for you. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay. Control, copy. Okay. So, exactly, Willie. So if I should have given you this link earlier. I'm sorry. Nick, if you look at this, that is what I was just looking at. It is set to today. Rebellious planet in the green. Do you mean the upside, the U-shaped thing in the green M with the fish on the side? If that is the rebellious doing it all by itself kind of symbol, that is the south node currently. Like these sorts of transit streams. Yeah, Willie, I try to do them every Sunday morning. I did go for 3 hours, but then I realized that most astrology transit streams tend to be 1, and 2 already feels like a stretch, so I figured we would just try 2 and see how that works. Oh, thank you, Dolly. That's very sweet. All the planets on the left, there's 1 at the lower right. You got Jupiter in the blue, and then in the green in the lower right, yeah, that's the south node. It's not a planet, it's an aspect, it's a calculated aspect, but the south node is things and themes that we are working towards releasing. What? Oh, hello? Oh, am I in a permanent headpat? I had a headpat.
No, I didn't see it go off.
I did.
You did?
Mm-hmm. I had a headpat.
You get some more.
Yay! Okay.
You know how to delete it?
No. Yay, headpat. Oh, that one. Okay. Yay, pat. Okay. Extra headpats. Love that. Okay. Very good. All right, where am I and what was I doing? There we go. Very good. So this is a piece that I have from a friend. I'm happy to chat and answer questions as we go along, but a friend of mine asked me to draw his cats in a bar as Mad Men style themed, right? So we have these two, they're a bonded pair, and then the third one is his, and this is bonus my cat as the bartender being very bored. What should we work on letting go of then? Well, if you knew what time you were born, Nick, that would be helpful because it tends to pertain to the Virgo area of your chart. Now, in general, Virgo rules things like routine and health and care and caregiving and work and things of that ilk. And what the South Node is trying to get you to do is learn where to control and where to let go, right? Dice roll for levity, Pete. High roll's good. All right. Good morning, Angelica. Welcome. We just got done talking about our week in astrology ahead, and it seems to be pretty good. You might have a lot of moving parts, but none of these moving parts feel particularly stressful. So just step back and take a break if you need to, and things should be good. Dice roll for levity, dice roll for, I don't know, the week ahead, Nick? Let's see. Oh, this one fell. Pretty decent. This adds up to 6, so we could say that was 3 6s. 3 6s out of 5 ain't bad. So. Or we can do it again. There you go. If we play Yahtzee rolls, I get 1 more. There you go. So it might take a couple of tries, Nick, but otherwise, even if you don't do anything, it looks pretty decent. Dice roll. I like dice rolling. So. Good morning, Angelica. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody has had a good weekend. We are on to the art portion and answering questions as you might have them about stars and such. I'm not as good at tarot as Miss May is. Explain the dice to me. Yeah, no problem, Dolly. It started off kind of silly, but I do stuff with Mercury or Hermes, depending on how you want to call him. I got started when I realized that Gemini rising was ruled by Mercury, and then there's a whole lot of other things in my, I think you were the one that said that you look at your birth chart for guidance on your spirituality, right? Or was that someone else? Anyway, I looked at mine, and basically this fool's fingerprints are all over my birth chart, and he rules little bits of everything. He is basically the patron saint of ADHD, I swear. But he also does, he does astrology, he does communication, he does short distance travel, he does this, he does that. He also does gambling. And one of his little items that you can have, to represent him are dice. So I like to just roll dice. I don't know, there is a whole way to do divination from them. I haven't learned it yet. I haven't had the attention for it. I wonder why I haven't had the attention for it. Oh, it was Willie, wasn't it? Anyway, I haven't had the attention, and I am Mercury dominant, so it makes sense why I haven't had the attention. So what I tend to do with dice right now, and it seems to work out all right, is I play it by Yahtzee rules. So when I was growing up, one of my family games was Yahtzee. And with Yahtzee, you have 5 dice, right? And you get to re-roll what you want twice. Kind of like poker, right? How you get to pull things or whatever it is twice, right? So, if I go by Yahtzee rules, I'm looking for things like flushes, where they're all in order, like straights. Basically, you can have long or short straights, whether you get 4 in a row, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if you get all 5 in a row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm looking for full houses, which are 3 of the same, and then 2 are the other one. So if this had landed like this, right, this would be a full house. You look for 3 of a kind, you look for 4 of a kind, and then obviously, but I never really pull it, you look for Yahtzees, which is where you get all 5. But that is what I do with dice. So sometimes when I'm feeling goofy, every now and again, it doesn't happen nearly as often anymore, but what I used to do sometimes if we were feeling goofy is I would, in lulls during Lady Lapine's streams, I would come on and just rapid fire yes/no questions with dice, right? So while I'm here, you're always welcome to, like Nick did, ask for a dice roll. If you want to ask me a yes or no question, I look at it as percentage odds, right? So we had this at the end of, you get to roll it once and then 2 more times what you wanted to roll. This was our end. So I was interpreting it as, it might take you a couple of times, but if you don't do anything, we had, basically it added up to 3 6s. If you don't do anything, you're going to be fine. But if you do a little bit more, it might be even better, right? So I have my rising sign in Gemini, and I have Mars in Gemini in my first house. I was born on a Wednesday, which is ruled over by Mercury. But I was born 30 minutes into a Wednesday, so I feel like there's a big story behind that. That's a little bit too much lore right now. But anyway, I was born 30 minutes into a Wednesday. Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. It is Mercury Day. I have If you go through his list of what he rules, it is a laundry list of all of my hyperfocuses. I'm not super big into gambling, but I will let you know now that I am good at it. So there was a lot of things adding up, and Mercury touches a lot. Mercury in my chart is in my 3rd house, which is ruled by Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. Mercury in my chart is Leo, and Leo is the spotlight. And yes, Leo is ruled by the sun, but I was looking at it as a spotlight, and I look at it as my Mercury is at a Mercury degree in my chart, as Mercury going, hey, look at me. I just started it on a whim, like reaching out to Mercury to see how it goes. I wrote a petition. I put it beside a candle. I lit the candle. I lit some incense. And I said, hey, if you want to do anything, if you're trying to reach out to me, or if this is just something like, hey, you've been waiting or something and now I'm just noticing, or anything like that. I lit my candle, I lit the petition, and I also added in it, since he's kind of like, yes, you are correct, a little bit Angelica, a little bit of Loki, like he's a little bit goofy, he's a little bit of a trickster, right? I said, if you want to make it funny, I don't take anything seriously, so that's fine. Make it funny. Like, you can have it as funny as you want it to be. I lit this candle. I sat it beside, I was actually sitting here and I was working on something. I lit this candle. I sat it beside where I could keep an eye on it. About an hour in, it popped. Like the wick just popped. And I was like, cool, okay, message received. Great. And I kept going. And then Miss May looked up about 5 minutes later and went, there's a bird in the house. Now, Mercury is symbolized more by predator birds than by little songbirds, but there's not a big old predator bird that's going to be able to get in through my breezeway. It's going to be a little songbird. But with his winged hat, or with his winged helmet, and with his winged shoes, I was like, birds are fine. I like birds anyway. A bird got into our house. And not only did this bird get into our house, our cat didn't notice that this bird got into our house, and he stayed asleep the whole time. We get her into our bedroom. I close the door to keep her safe away from the cat should he wake up. She is on my nightstand, and then she jumps under the bed. I look at her. She is completely calm. She is not freaking out. We open the window. I reach down. I push her out. She leaves. No big deal. I go to my nightstand. The bird has pooped on my nightstand. So I just kind of read that as, okay, you want Goofy? Here you go. Here's Goofy. Yes, I want you. And so I do a lot with Mercury. Now, I work with Venus a little bit too, but I would say that my main deity is Mercury. Or Hermes, depending. Midnight Baby, you see why I'm goth now. Absolutely. I love finding fellow Midnight Babies because I feel like we are few and far between. I love meeting my fellow children of inconvenience. Not your nightstand yet. Pooped on my nightstand. Does your divination run on the sense of sincere fun and mirth? Because I have this thing. Yeah, I've done bibliomancy and stuff. And yeah, it's just, I keep things fun. I keep things light. I don't take things too seriously. I warn all of the spirits that ever decide to work with me of like, I'm not going to be particularly serious. Like, I'm going to try to have fun. And if that's okay with you, great. And honestly, it's been pretty well received so far. But yeah, I tend to keep things fairly light. Hey, Sin. But yeah, so the bird, yeah, got into our house, pooped on my nightstand, and left. And that was it. That was it. So, yeah, so I have a lot of active Mercury energy. I am pretty evenly balanced elementally as far as like where what is, but when we start factoring in aspects that it's making, it gets pretty heavily tilted towards air and mercurial stuff. Lady Lapine actually asked for the art stream tomorrow for people who like to attend. It'll be earlier in the day than our Tuesday, Thursday streams. It'll be during our early afternoon stream time, but on Lady Lapine Art, she will be doing an art project. Do you want her to do the carousel on stream? The carousel that she's been working on, or should she finish that off screen and work on something else tomorrow? Yeah, give dice divination a shot. It's a lot, like if you get determined, right? Like figure out your rules around it or look up dice divination. There are like established rules for it for some people, right? See what works for you. I just kind of wing it and I went, you know what game I know? I know Yahtzee. Listening to the forecast while I make my bed. AJ, it was good. This week should be just fine. I finished it up a little while ago, but everything looks... It might be busy, but it'll be a fun kind of busy versus asking for a yes-no dice roll. Okay, I thought we were asking for the group for input. Yes-no dice roll. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. On the first shot, yes. There you go. Lady Lapine. But yeah, I've also done, I was playing around a couple of weeks ago, the week before last, before I had to cancel, I had a book that I was using for bibliomancy, and that was a lot of fun too. And since he rules communication, I feel like that is also a good way to connect with him and or with yourself for the other Mercury dominance. So, dice, bibliomancy, pick your poison. You've got a few options. He likes to talk a few different ways. And I have noticed, because people warn you, like, if you try to, like, work with Pluto or with Lilith, like, oh, they can be quiet, or they're kind of terse. Mercury is absolutely not. He is goofy, he is silly, and you get answers fast. After Bunny, will it be a good sunset today near me? Well, Bunny got a straight, just a large straight on the first shot, so that was a big yes. For Nick, let's see what we got. A good sunset. Also another straight, but a different straight. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, it should be a good sunset. If it is that good. If it is a large straight on the first roll, pretty, Nick, please take pictures. I would love to see them. Any other yes or no dice questions? They are very easy for me to do around the painting. I am happy to play. Ever tried divination with a crystal ball? May does, because we have one right here. I see this thing, and this is where I'm like, maybe this is the thing with me, and I'm wondering if this is just me being air dominant, or if this is just how my brain works, or if this is just Mercury doing with me. But the thing with me, and trying to see things out of things, is I will see them and I will go, this is important, and then I will not know how it is important. I will not be able to like feel how it's important. So like with things like tea leaves or crystal balls or things like that, I can look into them, I can see things, and then I go, I have no idea how this applies. Right? Like in this crystal ball, like I saw like a bear once, I saw like an anatomically correct heart once, I saw other things in it before. You know, like I've seen things, but then I can't figure out, and then I like look up like what other people think of it, and whatever I think of is so generic that there's like 8,000 different interpretations for it, and none of them feel correct. So I never know quite what to do. Go out to the park near sunset now. Oh, that's fine. At least tell me if it was pretty or not then. You don't have to take a picture. But I do expect a report. Element is Virgo. Virgo is Earth, but Virgo is also Mercury dominant, and that is my sun sign. That was what I forgot to mention, was that I am a Virgo at the end of the day, and my sun sign. May and I both are, and so that was another one of the Mercury just stamping his fingerprint all over, like just getting his handprints all over my chart is what it felt like. Virgo is an earth sign. She is, my favorite interpretation of her is she is Gemini's twin, as opposed to Gemini being the twin. She is Gemini's twin. Like I said earlier, she feels like the older big sister sort of twin. Like she is a little more rational. She's a little more, a little less scattered, a little more solid because of that earth influence, right? But at the end of the day, she still loves a good joke. At the end of the day, she's watching the whole time, whatever it is she's doing, she's watching other people, and then she will notice something, and then she will make a joke about it, and it will, like, inevitably land, but it will be something that nobody thought anybody else noticed, right? Like, she is that kind of personality. Virgo, man, don't Virgo man me, Dad. We're inverted. Virgo's an earth sign. Thought it was a nope. Get ready. If you think that Virgo is a water sign, what sign do you think Scorpio is? For the people who know the actual answer, please stay back, because this one always gets the astrology newbies. If I say Scorpio, fire that likes being in a stove. Yes, you are, Nick. You are very much like that. Also, what's up, Willie? Just inverted. Tell me where your sun, where your moon is, Willie. That'll be the real determination. Oh, okay. You know Virgo's an earth sign, then never mind me. But that Scorpio is a water sign really knocked me back the very first time I learned. But Scorpio is the fire sign of the water signs. And that makes complete sense. Scorpio is water. Aquarius moon, okay. Or not. That's a little bit different, but that's okay. That's a very... You do have a very cerebral combination, though, Willybug. No, my moon placement is what everybody notices about my chart every single time. I overthink a lot like all Virgos. I do overthink a lot, but I have a lot of just mercurial influence in general. Dad, we were talking about it earlier. I'm also a Gemini rising on top of being a Virgo. Pessimistic? I try not to be. I am pessimistic. Like, I am programmed to be pessimistic, but I try to keep things lighthearted, at least up to a point, right? As much as I can. What is my moon? Willy bug. I'm a Scorpio moon. But not only am I a Scorpio moon, my moon is conjunct Pluto. And it is the focal planets, or they are the focal planets of 2 T-squares. So whenever I show anybody my birth chart, they go, oh my god. So I have like a moon in Scorpio is already considered a Hades moon, and then a moon conjunct Pluto is already considered a Hades moon. And so I just joke and I say I have like a double or triple Hades moon. One of the degrees that my, because it's 19 and 20, I can't remember which one's the Scorpio degree, but one of them is at a Scorpio degree on top of being in Scorpio and conjunct Pluto. Hence the black cat motif. Yeah, I feel things very big, and then I have a very hard time expressing it. And that has been historically very true to me. I like cats in general. The black cat just fit me as a personality very well, kind of like how the bunny, we both found both of these dolls at the Goodwill bins. And it was very funny because we found Miss May, and then we found Lil Lynn the next time. So it just kind of happened back to back like that. But yeah, I am default wired to be pessimistic, yes, Dad. But I try very, very hard not to be. Sun is Virgo, Moon Scorpio. Oh, what's up, twin? Ascending Sag. Oh, that's fun. Hades coming as a guide makes sense. That has to do with more male guides. Hades, come taking my walk for a dog. Join me. Which one means Sagittarius as you're ascending? Sagittarius is just fun. He likes to go on, he's Jupiter ruled. He likes to go on big adventures. He likes to take, he likes to study things. He likes to talk philosophy. He likes to have a good time. He's just an adventurous sort. Virgo is your practical self, your rational, combination of all three. If we put all three together, Scorpio moon is still waters run deep. Virgo sun is your core. It is like the rules that you live by, not necessarily how you express yourself. It suggests a level of organization and rationality, a little bit of goofiness, like I talked about, how Virgo is kind of the big sister to Gemini. Still down to have a good time, still down for a trick or two, but not as constantly as Gemini. The pessimistic side of things is that she, like her shadow expression, is that she expresses herself like as a bit controlling. If you give too much of yourself with her, she will refuse to take care of you, right? So you can have people that like clean other people's houses for a living, and then they go home and then their house is a disaster, right? So you feel things big, you have a method for things. And then Sagittarius is you enjoy life, you enjoy living, you like to have fun, you like to go, maybe if you like to travel, you like to learn, those kinds of things. Ascending Sagittarius, your ascendant is how you like interact with the world. Like people say, it's a mask that you wear. That's not true, right? Like it's not just a mask, because a mask suggests that all it is how people perceive you. But no, that is how you perceive everything too. So you look at things through the Sagittarius lens. People interact with you a little bit as though you were a Sagittarius, right? Less of a mask, more as a just the puppet itself, right? As a Virgo, all my creativity is lost. I don't think so. Virgo has plenty of room for creativity. You just might need to work on it a little bit more, find some kind of structure within to put it. I mean, like, I am a Virgo sun, and here I am painting on the internet. Now, there's room to be creative. It might be a little more rigid than if you were heavily Neptunian, but you have Jupiter there with Sagittarius, so find where your Jupiter is and see if you can lean on that for any kind of inspiration. Anything else? What else have we got? I do dice rolls. We can talk about the stars. We can talk about your placements. We can talk about art. Whatever sounds good. Haunted stuff as well. I mean, I'm obsessed with haunted stuff, and Miss May is also a Virgo sun and is also obsessed with haunted stuff. So, but with that Scorpio moon of yours in mind as well, Dad, that also puts a penchant for haunted stuff. That lean in. Oh. Sorry, I had to lean forward to see what I was actually painting. So you just have to deal with the lean in. Your Sagittarius rising would also make you more open-minded to possible haunted things and the hauntedness of them. Like, you might not believe in it necessarily, but you would certainly be willing to play along. Or be at least good-natured about it. That's it. Sagittarius risings just suggest good-naturedness a lot of the time. I guess, now that you somewhat know me. When you thought it might be a Pisces, it made a lot of sense to me, Nick, just because you're so in that in-between. I could see a few other things maybe, but when we first thought it was Pisces, that made a lot of sense to me. Or like some kind of just really connected to the metaphysical side of things. Oh, thank you, Dolly. It'll take me a little while. I'm still kind of slow, but I'm happy to do that for you. If you have anything in particular you want me to look at, let me know. I will be more than happy to focus. Or if you just want to, whatever catches your eye, that's also okay. The problem with the whatever catches my eye is that I tend to notice a lot of things. So, but I am more than happy to give it a look. Let's see, what else? You're too... And I say this with all the love in the world, Nick, you're not spooky enough to be a Scorpio rising. And that is with Miss May as a Scorpio rising, right? Like, I know that not all Scorpio risings are spooky, but like it doesn't work. But I'm leaning towards a water sign like we talked about. Or if you are with as like rage against the machine as you are, it could also be maybe Aquarius, but I'm going to, just based off of my interactions with you, I still like my Pisces theory. You doing reading or painting or just what? I already talked about the week ahead, Dad, and then after that is done, I tend to just paint. I forgot to switch the little lever over. But your week ahead, there is a lot of inner planet shifts, like Venus is going into Cancer this week, Mars is going into Taurus, and then the Sun and Mercury are both going into Gemini. And there are a lot of little aspects in the early degrees that we're making, but overall the week looks pretty good. It might be busy, but there was nothing like really particularly negative. Basically, the advice, or especially with it being Mercury season, was pick a lane and stick to it so that you don't get too distracted. I tend to put a weekly summary up after the stream in our Discord group as well, Dad, but also you can find me in chats most of the time, so if you have any follow-up questions throughout the week, you can usually find me on Miss May's tarot streams and can be like, hey, what is this? Right, and I'll be happy to help. We are at the painting portion of things, though, but I'm happy to sit and chat. And also, if you have a yes or no question, I do roll dice, so we can see how that goes, too. Fair enough. That was a fair perception to me as well. To the bridge of the objective and subjective, a ground to the grand, I think is my role, but also to be a rule breaker, mostly when the rules set. I cannot remember, Nick, do you have any big Aquarius placements? Because that would also make sense to me, but maybe not as your rising sign. But if you had like a strong something in Aquarius, that would check out. And yeah, for anyone interested, I do birth chart readings for practice, severely discounted since I am still practicing. So I am happy to take those. They are in the commissions in coffee, the very last offer. Wish you the best of luck and exploration. Absolutely. I'm excited to see. That's something. Neptune was apparently your ruler. If Pisces is your rising sign, Nick, then that would be what makes Neptune your ruler. Neptune, or if we're looking at more traditional interpretations, Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So I like to think that he has some impact. The traditional ruler is Jupiter. Because before, back in the day, you know, we couldn't really see we couldn't see that Neptune existed. Oh. They just ascribed. Because I thought when I was first learning stars, I was like, oh man, that's not fair. Why does Mercury rule 2 things and, you know, Jupiter only rules 1? Or nope, that's not how that works, actually. Traditionally, everybody ruled 2 things except the luminaries. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and Leo is ruled by the sun, and they are the only signs ruled by the moon and the sun, respectively. Pick a card readings. My thoughts. I like them fine. I don't know if I know how to do them necessarily. Like pick a card and we'll see what it means, or are we talking like just a regular like card deck? Because I have a Pac-Man card deck. I can go get it. But May is much, much, much more practiced at tarot reading than I am. I play with candle magic, I play with astrology, I play with ancestor work, and the dice I play with as part of dealing with Mercury. Top card, you're gonna say 6 of coins. Let me find a deck. Hang on, our cards here. Let's see what we got. 9. Oh, sorry. We're going for a ride, guys. Sorry. But it looks like 6 on the other one. I don't know how you do that, Nick. You get close every time. So for the Twitch side of things, we have a friend of ours on the YouTube side who likes to guess on the top cards of a deck, and he always gets extremely close. And I would say that if you are discouraged by it being the 9, remember that upside down, that would be the 6. And his guess was the 6 of coins on the top of that deck, and it was a 9 of coins. So later on, I'm going to add more detail to this door. I'm going to try to make it like look a little bit more. Oh, thank you, Dolly. Make sure your info is in there, and then Miss May will relay it back to me. And I will see about working on that. I should have it done in a week or 2. Just vibes. The world's magic system is just vibes. Yeah, that's fair. 1 vector off in general, yes, but this was the closest you've gotten, Nick. Like, you got close. Anyway, I'm gonna work on, like, the coloring of all of this later, but for now I'm just trying to get the base colors going. I'll keep the group chat updated and stuff. And eventually, once it's done, I'll probably post it to Instagram. Yep. Thank you, dear. And you are back, and I will tell you, I will try to have that for you in a week or 2. So hold tight. Holly Dolly. That was extremely impressive. Now, we've got a little while left. I'm happy to keep painting. If anybody has any yes or no dice roll questions for me, feel free. Happy to help. Or at least throw some cubes on the table. Now I'm just kind of getting the base of all this. What got me into astrology? The very first time it was because an ex had dumped me. If you want me to be completely transparent, it was when my ex dumped me, and I was like, why? And I was just looking for an answer. Now, I got back into it. When did I get back into it? Like a year or two ago. No, it was over a year ago now. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago now, if I'm being honest. Wow, time. And I was just kind of looking at it for insight, with my spirituality and stuff to see if there were any answers in there or not. And it just kind of rolled from down there, right? So for the last 12 years, I've at least known my sun, moon, and rising, and I knew the difference of all of it and everything, right? But I didn't really like get into the weeds until, was it? If it was during the pandemic, that was a long time ago, but it might have been a year or two after. I started doing spiritual stuff in the pandemic again, like just kind of around things. I'm just trying to find things. So I just started off just doing like ancestor work, and then it just kind of evolved over time. Also, I do ancestor work, and Mercury helps ferry the living souls, or the passed away souls, to the dead. Hello? Spite is a powerful emotion and using heartbreak. I was projecting. Yeah. And Nick, we can talk about that on the side, but spite is part of why I think my birthday is what it is. But anyway, yeah, that was what got me started, and then I just kind of petered out because that was during my time in university, and then I ended up like moving and doing a whole bunch of other things and just, kind of like letting it go to the wayside. But then, yeah, it was, I guess, 2-3 years ago that I was just like, oh, right, I liked this thing a lot. And then I just kind of picked it back up. I can't remember what the specific motivator was the second time around, but I will definitely try to remember and see if I can think back. It might just have been that it made sense to me, right? But not nearly as exciting as it could be. I'm sorry, guys. But here I am now. And thank you, Che. Eventually, when our financial situation has cleared up, I found a 3-year course in astrology studies that ends up with basically a bachelor degree. And I would love the chance to do that. So. One of these days, I will be even better. And I think that general thirst for knowledge, too. That wanting to know everything is very mercurial of me. There is yes, you actually can. And there's a program out of the astrology school in London, and it's not necessarily a bachelor's degree as we know it, but it's a 3-year degree that gets you a degree. I can't remember what they call it. And from there, if you decided to get your master's studying something specifically in astrology or something, I think they have a scholarship program for it. So yes, it is the Astrology Institute of London, and I've had my eyes set on it for a couple of months. Why are you so late? I was obviously chilling there. I came heavily recommended by my... Oh god, were you late too, Nick? Because I was like 2 weeks late when I was born. Due dates are rough estimates, yeah. Yeah. Due dates are rough estimates, and the rough estimate was wrong for me, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe I just decided, no, actually, this is pretty comfortable. This is comfy. I don't want to leave. This is warm. A month and a bit late. There we go. I see it now. Okay. I only saw that my mom was like, why are you so late? A month and a bit. I was almost going to be a Pisces, and I was like, I refuse, Aries, please. Yeah, I think I would have been, if I came out on time, I would have been like final degree Leo. I'm a twin and no one even exists into my twin, so there's an extra baby in there. Wow. Hey Ozzy, how you doing? We did our star talk for today. The week looks pretty good. It looks like it might be kind of busy, but nothing too terribly like devastating. You just might have your hands full and need to step away for a minute now and again. But overall, we've got some pretty nice things. For Mercury and the Sun are going into Gemini. This might make you curious about things and want to learn more. And Venus is going into Cancer, which might make you a bit of a homebody, but it could also just, make you want to have comfortable, like, creature comforts and stuff. And then from there, we have Mars is going into Taurus, which is leaning more into those creature comforts too. So depending on who is louder in your chart or who is making more aspects to what, you might either get really social, really chatty, and want to hang out with people. You might be a bit of a homebody or want to work on like a home improvement project, or somewhere in the middle. I don't have work today, so I got to sleep in. Heck yeah. Born first, I was the bonus baby. Wow. That's crazy. That's good. I woke up, don't have work today, so I got to sleep in. Hell yeah. That sounds great. I'm thinking after we get done with stream, I might go down for a nap, maybe. Most oddly specific thing you have found out using astrology, like related to my personality or related out to astrology in general, or what are we thinking? Like, yes. I was gonna say, Che, that makes a lot of sense considering what house your stuff is. And also that your sister could have been keeping you secret because the 12th house is also secrets, right? Oddly specific, like, yeah, oddly specific as it affects me or just as a general fact? Yeah. Mercury just enjoys the time. Mercury likes roller coasters. You guess both as, oddly specific. To think. Let me think. I'm thinking. I found out just recently more information on the North Node and the South Node as it pertains to my chart specifically. And it was very interesting because it was looking at it in a way that someone had just written down, like, based on their own observations, but I might be adopting it this way because I related to it a lot better. Just in that the North Node and the South Node, so starting to get way too into my birth chart, but like my North Node is also in Gemini. Nope, my South Node is in Gemini. Excuse me, my South Node is in Gemini, my North Node is in Sagittarius. And they are in the 1st and 7th house. Now, my South Node is in my 1st house, and my North Node is in my 7th house. And I had just, everything that I've read that's like computer generated or like superficial level is like, oh, you have to, you know, stop being so independent and learn to trust other people and da-da-da-da-da. And this is because, you know, like you have to, I don't know. Basically, it was like, you need to learn how to be codependent. And I was like, I don't really want to, thank you. But I was reading this one person's interpretation of it, and it was like, no, actually, it just might be that you had like uncomfortable standards of some kind put on you, like by your family and stuff. And I didn't have like the traditional, you're gonna go to school and you're gonna get a good education, and no. But I had like weird expectations put on me by my family. Nothing bad. We're all still on good terms and everything. Just, oh, that's me kicking a poster underneath me, if you can hear that. Sorry. Just some weird things. And I never really wanted to stay, and I always wanted to go out and adventure and stuff like that. But everything that I was reading about my North Node was like, you need to learn how to be independent and da-da-da-da-da. And it was like, this interpretation was just like, no, actually, it could just be that you feel like you felt like an outsider your whole life, and you're working on finding where you need to be. And, you know, you find your home through adventuring instead of just trusting. I don't know. It was just this really neat interpretation of it. And that really resonated with me, and it was oddly specific. The oddly specific, here we go, the weird one. This is not me getting into depth. Mars in the 1st house gives you red hair. I have red hair. I don't know. I have bright red copper penny hair. Sen can vouch for me. And so can Miss May. And Mars in the 1st house is supposedly the one that is responsible for giving you red hair. And it is extra funny because, like, yes, my father has like the red recessive gene, but it goes up into my mom's grandfather before we get back to redheads, because, and it's her paternal grandfather, and her father has dark hair. So it went red, dark, and then red recessive but brown, and then I got red, which, like, yes, it makes logical sense, but anyway, it's just a stretch to get to redhead for me. And that's just Mars in the 1st house. What else? As far as details, weird details. Yes, your rising sign and things in your placements in your 1st house can impact how you look. So Gemini rising or heavy Gemini placements, you have like very noticeable hands. Hello. I have some stuff that are begging differently, but Mars prominent can give like athletic builds. Gemini can make you thin and wiry. Scorpio can make you like stereotypically dark and mysterious. There's one that just makes you what is it? It's like everything but more. Like Jupiter is abundant, so he can either make you really tall or you can have some problem with weight gain, right? Gemini keeps you fresh and youthful. Yeah, there's different things, you have different aspects, and like you're not obviously, like, genetics do play a role still. It's not all just astrology. Like, there are going to be like genetic impacts to things. It's just funny how it all kind of lines up sometimes. Relate to auto-generated summaries not hitting in terms of birth chart. Yeah, sometimes like it's good it's good to give you a gist, right? Like to learn like the stereotypical application of whatever, right? Like, okay, usually this is what this means. But then if it doesn't, you have to like go and dig a little deeper, right? So it's a good way, or at least for me, it was a very good way to get my foot in the door with the auto-generated summaries or like the pre-written summaries and stuff like that. But yeah, then after a while, if you really get into the weeds, it becomes not sufficient. Yes, you can. An M on at least one hand. Here you go. This one is my left hand. And then this one is my right. Excuse me for just popping my knuckles on stream, but so if you're a Gemini rising, yeah, you get the hands, you get a little more youthful look. I have Mars in the first house, so I think he kind of counteracts that youthfulness look, but I feel like I look fairly age ambiguous, at least. It's like a middle road, right? A lot of Mars dominant types tend to have more athletic builds, especially if it's Aries types. At least in the rising, right? Big doe eyes for Pisces. Put your hands together. A big M on both. Okay. Yeah, it's probably how hands fold, but I'm happy to be a chosen one. I love being a chosen one. Choose me, but not in a pick-me way. I want you to genuinely think that I'm cool. Yes, everything, it all kind of just bleeds into each other. It's a lot of fun. Need a new page for Discord for non-tarot divination. I mean, yeah, that might be like fun, or like a random catch-all. At this rate, we're gonna need to have folders for things. Because I was like, cool, we can do astrology, and this and that, and then we're gonna just need like the divination pocket, and this pocket, and that pocket. Recommendations, movies, recommendations, musics, and I'm worried that that's gonna get a little bit too in the weeds, but chosen for what exactly? I don't know, son, but I'm down. Choose me for something fun as long as you genuinely like me. We're going on an adventure. Non-tarot thanks to lots of people. Yeah. It might just stay like a generic divination kind of pocket, unless we find that people get really interested in something. But also, if that's the case and you want me to do like a bibliomancy check or a dice check too, just tag me in the Discord. I'd be happy to take a look that way too. And then, as always, if you have any like odds and ends questions, there are both of the astrology subchannels. Moon being aligned for the M, specifically think the moon towards the fingers is the more common part. Okay. I've wanted to get my palms read for a while, but I'm also terrified of what they're going to say. Because I use my hands all the time. Any good plans this week? How are we going to leverage all this shiny new get out the house energy? Are we doing anything? I know this week and next week are going to be kind of busy for as far as aspects and stuff goes. And the first couple of weeks of June are kind of going to slow down again, and then it'll pick back up. And then July and August are back to game on kind of things. But we're all in this together. I think it's there. Capricorn rising, maybe RBF. That's more Scorpio rising's thing. Let me see. Let's go. We can go on a journey too. Let's see. I can't remember everybody, so let's but they do have summaries written up. So let's go on a search together. I was doing an outdoors push this week. Huh. Well, it's the wrong season for you and me. Alright. Your rising sign and your physical appearance. What does this blog say? So this is just one person's interpretation, but let's go. Okay. Aries rising, or prominently placed Mars, I would say. Mars rules the head and muscles. The body is often athletic or wiry, built for action. Movements are fast, direct, sometimes abrupt. Facial features can be sharp or bold, with strong brows or a noticeable forehead. You tend to look alert or intense, like you are always about to move. Okay? So this is just me reading off of somebody's blog. I will put the link in chat. A Taurus rising, Venus rules the throat, neck, and physical comfort. The body often appears solid, grounded, or curvy with a strong neck or shoulders. Movements are slow and deliberate. The face is usually soft, symmetrical, or sensual with steady eyes. You give off calm even when you are thinking deeply. And again, we have to look at like which planets are affecting one thing. Do you have a planet in the first house? Do you have something really affecting the ascendant line or something, right? So like these can all impact, but like as a general overview, right? As an intro level. Gemini rising. Mercury rules the arms, hands, and the nervous system. The body is often slim or light with expressive hands and quick gestures. Movements are restless, animated, or constantly shifting. Facial features are youthful with bright, curious eyes. People can read your thoughts through your expressions instantly. Unless you're like me and you have a Scorpio moon. Cancer rising. The moon rules the stomach, chest, and emotional body. The body may be soft, rounded, or changeable over time. Movements are gentle and protective. The face often looks approachable with expressive eyes that mirror emotion easily. Your mood shows on your body before you speak. Leo rising. The sun rules the heart, spine, and vitality. Posture is upright, confident, and noticeable. The body often carries warmth or strength through the chest and shoulders. Facial features are bold, with expressive eyes or hair that draws attention. You tend to look self-assured even when you are unsure. Virgo rising. Mercury here rules the stomach and the intestines. The frame is usually lean, the waist held tight, the movements orderly and intentional. The face carries fine lines or sharp angles with eyes that measure carefully. Stress leaves visible traces, making your inner state easy to read. Libra rising. Venus here rules balance, symmetry, and aesthetics. The body is proportionate, graceful, and visually pleasing. Movements are smooth and measured. Facial features are often symmetrical with a soft smile or inviting expression. People tend to project ease and charm onto you. Scorpio rising. Mars and Pluto rule reproduction, elimination, and survival instincts. The body carries intensity even at rest. Movements are controlled, deliberate, and economical. Facial features are sharp or striking, with penetrating eyes. People often feel watched or emotionally seen by you without knowing why. Sagittarius rising. Jupiter rules the hips, thighs, and expansion. The body is often tall, long-limbed, or built for movement. Posture is open and relaxed. Movements are big, loose, or spontaneous. And your face tends to look expressive and upbeat, like you're mid-story. For my Cap rising. Saturn rules the bones, joints, and structure. The body appears lean, angular, or compact. Movements are restrained and purposeful. Facial features can be sharp or serious, with a composed expression. Sounds like RBF. You often look older when young and younger with age. Aquarius rising, Saturn and Uranus rule circulation, nerves, and disruption here. The body can feel slightly unconventional in shape or movement. Posture may be detached or unpredictable. Facial features are unique or striking in an unexpected way. You often look emotionally neutral, even when you are thinking deeply. Sorry, my best friend's an Aquarius rising. Pisces rising. As Jupiter and Neptune rule the feet and porous boundaries, the body is soft, fluid, or hard to pin down visually. Movements are subtle, drifting, or gentle. Facial features blur emotion easily, especially through the eyes. People sense your mood before you say a word. So I got these right here. And this is just a little sampler, and obviously, like everything with astrology, you can go so much deeper so quickly. But as a little taste, there you go. Aquarius rising gives autism or extremely... Aquarius rising to me just screams my best friend with her very, very unmanaged ADHD that is a breed of its own. So I'm sorry, I just started laughing. You're welcome for the link. I can find more too if we keep being interested and post them in our astrology chat. So we didn't get very far into this, but it at least got it started and will make me want to work on it on my own time. I will be happy to keep folks posted on the Discord with it and or show it back up next week. Hopefully I will be done by next week. But I can definitely like keep updates and stuff. If folks are interested in the watercoloring stuff, I do have an Instagram. The link is in my Discord bio. I am always tired. You are always tired, Che. And I mean that all affectionately, but yes, the sleepy or dreamy does fit you very well. But anyway, if you are interested and aren't in the Discord, that is fine. You can find my Instagram at here. And there are underscores on either side. Eyes are unique for me, but for me it's not so accurate. You have other stuff playing with your ascendant, Miss May. We can look at that later. But yes, you are an oddball. You are an oddball Scorpio rising, and I mean that most affectionately as well. I would say that your eyes are very unique, and so too is your smile. But it is one. I am going to be done. I will keep people posted in the Discord as I progress. That is my Instagram handle, should people be interested. I can do chart readings through the Ko-fi link. I can do art commissions if you just talk to me. And one more dice roll for the road. Oddball. There we go. Full house. Feeling pretty good. It's all red. Most of these signs are blue. So there we go. I will catch y'all on the flip side. We will be back first tomorrow in the afternoon at Lady Lapine Art for Miss May's art stream. Then we'll be back in the evening for tarot. Monday evening tarot stream, Wednesday, Friday afternoon tarot streams. First come, first serve, 30 questions. Art streams by Miss May are on Tuesday, Thursday evenings. So, take care of yourselves. You know where to find me if you need me. And I will catch y'all on the flip side. See you in chat later. Bye.